Okay, so now it's time for our featured speaker. We have a tradition here at the GNA, right, Bill? You've spoken at the GNA before. What's our tradition? I forgot. We send our featured speaker all the way to the back. William, Sefton, Bill. We'll do that, right? And why don't we send our featured speaker all the way to the back? Bilky.
So they tuck in his shirt.
So you can introduce them on the proper.
So they can make that grand entrance, right? Yeah. Okay. We got plenty of time to network informally afterwards. Okay. So William Lee Sefton on Facebook, so people can find you, right? But he's known as Bill. Just call him Bill. Great guy. I'm going to tell you a story about how I met Bill. I mentioned it earlier, but this is for the camera here. This is why Facebook is so important, okay? Bill saw me on Facebook because everything I have out there is completely public, okay? And he saw what we were doing through the GNA and noticed that him and I have a bunch of mutual friends. He sent me a message saying, hey, blah, 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 Elias, I see we have a lot of mutual friends. I see what you're doing. I want to get involved. How do I get involved? Hey, Bill, send me a friend request. And it was as easy as that. He was sitting in his office, his home office, and then that day I was in my home office. And we didn't have to move anywhere, right? No phone call, no gas, no nothing. And we eventually had the phone call, but how simple was that? So that's how Bill and I got to meet. And Bill has also spoken at our San Bruno GNA chapter, and he's here today once again because he's a phenomenal person. We've known Bill for 3 months, but we already love him. So, I'm going to read a little bit about Bill's background here, and then we'll have him running in here and charging in here and getting ready to take off. So, Bill was born in San Francisco on December 7, 1943, and was raised in Sausalito and Mill Valley, graduating from, I screwed this up last time, Tamalpais.
Oh, man.
Tamalpais, screwed up again. Tamalpais. I don't know where that's at. I've never been there. It's in Sausalito, very nice, elite area.
It's the wrong side of Stinson Beach.
A little on my price range, I'm sorry. And I am an educated guy, but I screw that one up every time. Okay.
Tamalpais is the big
Tamalpais High School in 1961. Bill earned his Master's of Accounting degree from the University of Southern California in 66. And his Bachelor, come on now. And his Bachelor of Arts Degree in Economics from Willamette University in 1965. Here are the following designations: CPA in 1968, Certificate in Advanced Personal Financial Planning in 68, Certified Senior Advisor in 2002, Certified IRA Specialist in 2006, his Certified College Planning Specialist in 2007, and has been listed in many editions of Who's Who. Bill is an experienced tax professional. He serves his clients throughout the U.S. with over 46 years of experience dealing with money issues of all types. For 36 years, he has been advising and defending home-based businesses. So without further ado, please give a big warm GNA welcome to Bill Sefton! I screwed up twice now, it's all yours.
All right.
But thank you. There you go.
I'm going to have lots of tips for you. Some of this stuff is old stuff because it goes back some 35 years with Craig. Back then I was a national expert on Amway and taxes, about 5 of us for that, defending lots of Amway distributors, and winning them all. A little blood on the table from time to time, but good history there. And I'm going to share with you some practical information. This is the first time I've been out of the office all week. It's fun to get out of the office because all of my activity is 15 hours a day, 7 days a week in my little home office. I've got one computer here and one computer there, and I got a computer back over on my left doing day trading on the computer robotically, automatically. My latest new business gig.
A multitasker.
Well, very much a multitasker.
You're getting strange emails from me saying, can I do this?
Yeah,
right.
right.
Can I do that?
So, I left my notes at home, and so if you would all take one of these, pass it around. My presentation may be a little bit disjointed, but that's okay. And my notes are not for my glasses. So, when we're in business and we're talking about income tax, does anybody bring your Schedule C like I suggested in the ad?
Oh, did you?
No? Nobody. I didn't figure you would. So I got free reign to talk whatever I want, right?
You got mine.
I is ordinary and necessary for the building or maintaining of your existing business is deductible. For example, a politician who's already in office, like Nancy Pelosi, can deduct her expenses of running again. But anyone challenging her because they are not already in that job can't deduct any of their expenses. Isn't that interesting? Some 30 years ago, I defended a gal who was a bank officer at Crocker National Bank. I'll show you how old I am. And she was getting her MBA. But because she already had a management position at Crocker National, she was able to deduct that training or that educational expense as a deduction on her tax return. Audit? Clear? Okay. However, if she was still in college and did not have a management position, it would not be deductible. There's a real big difference in how you do things and what you do. And I've been teaching people for years, decades. It's not what you do so much as how you do it. Okay, or why you do it. I'm going to give you some examples as I go through here. I want to start off with my banana metaphor. How about this box? Unfortunately, my wife decided she would flatten and put it underneath my 1959 TR3, which is a British and which leaks oil. But anyway, there's my banana box. Now, my brother-in-law, did you all get one of these?
No.
Well, come on, you guys.
They're all stuck up there somewhere. Oh, sorry about that.
He's a very cerebral fellow. He was my accounting professor in college. And he's not one into nutrition or in network marketing. If the doctor doesn't prescribe it, it must not have any value. Okay? Sharp guy. I walked into his house a year ago and I said, he greets us after driving 600 miles up to Beaver, Oregon. He says, Bill, I just discovered that if I eat a banana before I go to bed, I sleep better. There's a natural melatonin in it. Well, this is not Jack. This is not his normal way of talking. Natural food, not his thing. So, my wife and I had a banana. Well, we thought we slept better, but you know, we just driven 600 miles. So I look at the kitchen counter the next morning. I see there are only about 2 or 3 bananas left. So we're going to go through these bananas real fast when I'm visiting. So I go down to the local Fred Meyer, which up there is like our Safeway down here. And I walk over to their bananas in the produce area. And I look at them, and I says to the produce clerk who's refilling the produce, I said, is there a deal for buying a bunch of these? Now let me back up a moment. The first thing that happened was that my brother-in-law gave me word-of-mouth advertising, right? Every business wants word-of-mouth advertising, don't they? Say something good about it. That's why the congressmen and the politicians will do everything they can to help you with some problem you might have, because they know that you're going to say yes to about 200 people. And they're going to avoid doing you bad because they don't want you saying no to 200 people. Okay? So word-of-mouth advertising is really important. The next stage in selling, and we're all in selling, right?
Yes, everybody's selling something.
You're not.
I'm in showing.
Everybody's selling something.
Everybody's selling something. So the next stage is networking. When you go to a chamber mixer or a meeting like this, we exchange business cards, get to know each other, maybe pass some referrals if we can, but there's no money exchanging hands, right? So my going to the store to buy the bananas was word of mouth, wasn't it? Okay, now, if the supermarket had paid my brother-in-law 10% or some small amount of money for my buying some bananas, that would have been network marketing, wouldn't it? Thank you. How many times have you referred people to use Google?
A lot. Times.
Have they ever paid you any money? No. No.
Should.
Yeah. I once had a bank president ask me twice, 2 letters saying, would you refer some business to me? And I said, I have. When are you going to refer some business to me? That was about 30 years ago. But I still remember it. Bank is no longer around. So that's network marketing. Multi-level marketing is where I buy this 40 pounds of bananas, take it home, suddenly realize that these bananas are going bad really fast, so I got to make a lot of banana bread quick, eat it myself, or pawn it off on you, right? And life is okay because I got a good price on them. But still, I got all these bananas going bad on me. But I really get ticked off when I go to the network MLM meeting the next week, and I find out that Jack, my brother-in-law, just made 30% finder's fee on my startup kit of bananas. They're not bad on me. Huh?
Brother-in-law's
Yeah, brother-in-laws can do that. So that's multi-level marketing. So I avoid multi-level marketing where we have, $500 or more buy-ins. I like a good networking marketing where I just earn a little bit because you use the product. Okay? That's all. Just a little bit of that. And so we're going to kind of go around that because that's where the real advantage goes. A year ago, a client of mine came in and he says, somehow the conversation came up, said, I'm going to go to the Toastmasters convention in Orlando, Florida. And I said, what's that going to cost you? He says, $2,000. Now this guy's completely retired. Where are you going to get the money? I'll draw it out of my Charles Schwab IRA. I said, well, you're going to have to draw out $3,000 and $1,000 to pay the tax to have $2,000 go on a trip. Not good, huh? His wife is totally glazed over. But 30 years ago, we had done this with him, so he kind of got it. I said, now, if you got to get a real good networking here, program. And on Toastmasters, they don't really care what the subject is, do they? It's the presentation skill that's demonstrated in the talk, right? I'm more concerned about the presentation. So where is a better place to talk to a group of people in a 30-second pickup line than Toastmasters? Right? Big one. Yeah, I mean, it's an easy one. So I says to him, okay, you get involved in my little gig here. You whenever you can, without being invasive or being pestered, it's a conversation. Use a little pickup line. Every time you do that, you write it down on your little journal. It's a tax-deductible event. Because what you're doing is building or maintaining your business, isn't it? I told this to a fellow the other day. I was a bank teller. I said, you married? He says, no. I said, great, this will work great for you. I asked the other time, are you? She said, I'm engaged. Well, it won't work for you. It'll work once, but no more. Every time you go out on a date with this gal, to the guy that was single and not connected, you just use this opening question. It makes the date tax deductible. Whether they buy or not. True. Okay? So you just gotta have fun. Now realize that some people like Pepsi, and some people like Coke. And I've been known to come to restaurants like this that only serve Coke and run my own Pepsi. In fact, when I went down there, I saw they only had Coke, so I didn't bother to ask them. But I've got restaurants over in Danville that actually have Pepsi sitting under the counter for guys like me. Okay? So this is not about right or wrong today. It's not about good or bad. It's about preference. Okay? Along the same line, I had a client years ago who said, how can I write off all my woodworking equipment? What do you use it for? I make furniture for my grandchildren. So, well, that won't work. It's a hobby. A couple months later, I happened to be in Coos Bay, Oregon, a really good pancake place called Pancake Room. They had a little gift shop corner, and they had this little box. And the sign, which has since worn off, said, exercise block. Walk around this block 3 times. You've done your exercise for the day.
Wow.
What does this cost? Somebody's got woodworking equipment to make.
When they're making furniture, nothing, because it comes out of the scrap.
Just a little bit.
And they were selling it for $3. They were making it for $3. They were selling it for $3.
It's a cousin of that rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right next to the rock with the smiley face.
Now his woodworking equipment could be deductible, depending upon how many blocks he made and how many he sold. Interesting, huh? Again, it's not what you do, it's how or why you do it. So, I says to him, I said, you get involved in my networking gig, this $2,000 trip to Toastmasters, since we already decided that this would be a great place to prospect for your networking gig, is deductible. So the $2,000 you take out of your IRA, because you're over 50 and a half, the $2,000 you take, it's offset by the expense of the trip. I mean, very generalistic, and you know. And if between now and the time you go on your trip, 9 months from now, you make $9,000 or $2,000, you don't have to pull it out of your IRA. Pretty cool, huh? That is the power. And I've been teaching this for over 30 years. You gotta be safe, you gotta do it right, you can't be funny about this, you gotta have a separate checking account. It doesn't have to be a business checking account, because business accounts cost money. Separate checking account that's dedicated to business, separate credit cards dedicated to business. And you carry this around with you. Now, what is the copyright date on this?
1842.
Huh?
Oh, what's that? 1840. The 1882.
17.
Yeah.
So how old is this pad?
30 years old plus.
Has it proved the test of time?
So far, it reads the same way.
This worked great in IRS audits, and it really worked great if you had some coffee stains on it, or used different colors pen during the year. Yeah, I know somebody would like to do an Excel spreadsheet, but it doesn't show the contemporaneousness of the record, okay? Powerful, because this is what the IRS is looking for, is this kind of information. Amazing what you can do. Amazing what you can do. Is that helpful for somebody in Aflac?
Sure.
Okay, now what's the difference between your shirt, it's got the Aflac on it, on Craig's shirt, it's got no Aflac or no...
Mine's tax deductible.
Exactly.
Can't read
Craig's is
Craig's.
not.
I do.
Craig's is there, but you can't read it.
So your shirt costs you,
But you got cops to.
his shirt costs you $40. Yours is tax deductible, so what is yours really costing you? Maybe 30,
Yeah.
okay? Here's one of my favorite ones. I drive old cars. Until about 6 months ago, all my cars were last century. I rent a car whenever I drive more than 100 miles a day. 200 is a slam dunk. Craig got me started this because he was with Avis for years. 30 years ago, I picked up on this. So these last 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I will drive 500 miles. Okay? So my wife went down to Salinas to the dentist. Came back. Why did she go to the dentist in Salinas? My dentist went to USC. Notice the red and the yellow USC. But he's got really small
We
fingers.
won't hold that against you.
Yeah, it's all right.
He's got really small fingers, which is really important for a dentist. And he's great. And he always gives me laughing gas. If you never had laughing gas, get laughing gas.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Woo, woo, woo.
And if you have asthma, the oxygen they give you at the end just clears you out. It is so cool. And I go down to the dentist tomorrow. And today I ran up the tax return up to Petaluma, and so that was unreal. So 500 miles, and it will cost me $150. Or basically a brand new car. So how much is that? $30 a mile. And the IRS gives you over 55 cents a mile. So I pay 30 cents a mile plus gas.
Why is the IRS giving you 55 cents an hour?
Statutory rate.
Well, what do you use?
It's RETD, by the way, not
Thank you.
How are you
Yeah.
You deduct all your miles.
When you're in network marketing,
That was
every
funny.
time you talk to somebody, it's deductible.
Absolutely.
My dentist is one of my business partners.
Okay, now I understand. Yeah, gotcha.
My client in Petaluma is a tax client.
Gotcha.
I don't do hardly nothing. The only time I don't talk about network marketing is with my family, my sister, my older sister. What's really funny about my older sister, she works on her computer a lot for genealogy work. But she's not working 15 hours a day like I am. 7 days a week. I have never had carpal tunnel syndrome. She has had surgery. The best nutritionals you'll get are through some network marketing. No question about that. So 30 cents a mile. Now, since it's unlimited mileage,
Yeah, that's true.
it doesn't matter if I take a personal trip, does it? Because this 150 is a flat rate. All you have to do is make sure that the car that you do own has collision insurance. It covers our rental cars. Make sure you cover that. But we got lots of insurance guys. Is that a good idea? Here's another conversational or idea. This is a felt tip pen. We learned this about 30 years ago in Emily. Cut a notch in the top. And you'll always be using a used one. And when this one dries out, you move this over, move the top over the new one. You'll never be embarrassed by being up here and having a pen to go dry on. You ever see that happen? Because all the pens down here are dry. Amazing stuff that I learned in Emily 30 years ago. She loved it down there. I may have to go borrow her pen if this one dries out because I didn't bring a second one. Continuing education is incredibly important. There's a book and I want you all to write down this title. How to Read a Client from Across the Room. How to Read a Client from Across the Room. It just came out in October. I have this really sharp dental hygienist who served a Mormon mission. Went back home. She's been trying to find Mr. Right. She can't find Mr. Right. And I said, I'm going to give you this book. I want you to read it. And I want you to replace client with man. How to read a man from across the room. Because it will teach you how to read somebody based upon their dress, based upon their conversation, based upon their demeanor, so that instead of working a room like this, a networking event, and just hitting everybody randomly, you can see from across the room who is the most likely person for you to be a good relationship with a customer. Prospect. Pardon me? Brandy Michaels. Brandy Michaels. M-Y-C-H-A-L-S. Friend her Facebook. And you'll see her book. It's only about $12. Now, even if your networking business is not profitable, if you've got a really good track record of talking to people and asking questions, your pickup line, you got proof that you've been doing the business, right? But if your log is empty, then what are you doing? Right? Now, it's very important, I believe, in any field of sales. We've all agreed that we're in some form of sales. Greg's wife is a form of sales. That we're conversant in a lot of different subjects, right? Because the best way to become a friend with somebody is to talk about what they want to talk about. And if I talk to you about tennis, and you're a golfer, it's not going to hit, right? So, if you use your subscriptions, I'm talking about magazines, in that frame to be more conversant with other people, and your history can show you by this, those things can be deductible too. 10 more minutes? Thank you. Okay, we're going to raffle these two books off, so let us not forget about these two books. Another idea. Doug Andrews taught me this 7 years ago. He has arithmetically proven that it is better to use universal life insurance than an IRA to create a retirement plan. Yeah, believe it or not. And that the only time the IRA 401k becomes an advantage is when the employer is contributing to the program. He has proven that most people will pay more taxes in the beginning. No, they will pay more taxes when they take the money out than they'll ever save in the beginning when they accumulate. Most people won't believe it, but that's what he proves. And interesting. So, do you have any questions as we wrap up? Was this helpful?
Eye-opener.
Eye-opener?
Yes.
Yes, big time.
Documentation is critical for the IRS. You've got to be in business, and you've got to be promoting whatever you're promoting. That doesn't mean you have to be in the face of everybody, cramming whatever you got down their throat. Just have to be very conversational. Now, here's my business card, and I believe the most important thing about any business, this may be the most important thing to you, you'll get out of tonight, is what is your pickup line?
Hey, how often do you get in the car like this? Excuse me, I've left my Congressional Medal of Honor, obviously, underneath your stool.
I gave this card out to in an embarrassing situation the other day when I was at Starbucks with our friend, and this gal came up and she looked just like my niece. I said, oh my goodness, you look like my niece. That's what threw me. So she came out, I handed her my card, and I said, it's all about networking. She's a teacher at one high school, and that's all about my activities at Tamalpais High School. Then the card says, what's your pickup line?
Wow.
There was. Hey, that's a good pickup line.
I tell my wife that I call it, what's your elevator speech?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Around, all of a sudden it faces everybody. There's a tension that goes through the space. And it was just as we were getting down to the ground floor, and I turned around and I said, now, for my Amway speech before we get off. And everybody, the doors opened, and it was just gales of laughter.
You kill me, man.
Another elevator speech that
Woo!
So, let me give you two. Do you know anyone whose 401k has become a 201k?
201k.
I got a website you might want to check out. CoolTraderPro.net/Alan Huddy.
That's right.
With 2 L's.
With 2 L's. A-L-L. Thank you very much.
And I sponsored him then. Mine just has to be William Lee Sefton at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
Why do I use William Lee Sefton? Because there are a lot of Bill Seftons out there.
Any of those.
We both got a lot of bills.
next time.
But my favorite one is, do you know anyone who drinks coffee or an energy drink to get through the day?
When?
Do you?
Yes.
We built a business model around it. So that every time I ask that question, it's a tax deductible event, whether they decide to try it or not. And we've got these freshmen in college, the product's been out for 7 years, who just 9 months figured out with, oh, I mean, I'm drinking Red Bull and all that junk. If I started drinking this highly nutritious energy drink, and I drink 3 a day because of my 15-hour days. If I drink my own stuff, it's now a tax-deductible business model. And if I share it with my roommates and the others in the dormitory, I might make some money. And because these kids don't have any history of flat tires and business failures and things that didn't go so well, and MLMs, right? And there's no lying in this thing, and just bring your own and share it. These college freshmen are making $5,000 a month after 6 months. Driving around in a new BMW. And let's flash back. I wasn't planning on saying this, but let's flash back to the client I had 30 years ago that worked at Cracker Bank. She was able to write off her educational expense because she had a job in management when she was getting an MBA. So maybe if the college major is appropriate and fits, maybe the college is deductible. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. You see? It's not what we do that's so important, it's why we do it. And how we do it. We don't have to be in your face. I ask that question, back out. If there's a positive response, continue the conversation. If there's no response, hey, we talk about fly fishing. Speaking about fly fishing, you're going to love this one, Craig. Craig loves to fly fish.
I've been waiting for you to tell me I'm going to deduct this.
About 20 years ago, I ran into a fellow. We lost contact. He was in Pleasanton. And his side business, I forgot what he did on a regular 40-hour work, but his side deal was selling wholesale in a direct mail before the internet kind of way. Fishing equipment. That meant he probably got all his fishing equipment free from the manufacturer. Every time he went out to test it, the fishing trip was deductible. As long as he had a good record. Okay?
If you like to fly fish, you get your flies.
And he didn't have to catch anything, he just had to try.
Exactly, he didn't have to catch anything.
But if you want your fishing gear deductible, you fly fish and make your own flies, sell it to you, boom, you've got yourself a deduction.
I had to try those ones out of the Amazon.
But,
Fly fish.
I don't have a rubber band. Rubber band just sitting there is of no value, right? You stretch a rubber band, it's useful, right? If you stretch it too far, it breaks, and it might hurt you, it might pop out an eye. So when it comes to income taxes, you never want to stretch it too far.
Know the limit.
And you want to make a profit, and I would limit any loss that you might have to $2,500. Okay? First year or two, you might lose some money from a tax standpoint. But I wouldn't take all the deductions that you might be entitled to, because there's no need to. Oftentimes when I do a return, I look at the tax bill, you know, you don't need all those itemized deductions. And I let them go. Sometimes there's overkill. So you never want to get greedy with the tax bill.
Okay, red flags.
Yeah, how many red flags get you an audit bill?
Oh yeah.
But how many?
Pardon me?
How many red flags get you an audit bill? Used to be
No one
3.
knows. No one really knows. It's an unknown. But the point is, an audit will really slow you down.
Yes.
Just in your mental.
Oh, yeah.
So, do we have any questions? Any thoughts? Any comments? Yes, sir.
I don't know, I would just like to relate an experience I had in an audit. I was audited And this gentleman, the IRS agent sitting across the desk from myself and my accountant, and he said, now I'd like to see your business expenses. And I had been prepped by my CPA to do the following: 12 envelopes, all receipts in the envelope, and then corresponding with, of course, my day timer, but a machine tape stapled to the outside of each envelope, tallying the total of the receipts. And so I pushed across the table these 12 envelopes with the machine tapes, and he opens one up, and he looks at it, just kind of rifles through it a little bit, and he pushes them all back to me. He says, I'd like to compliment you on your record keeping.
Sure. You, in each envelope, one envelope was telephone, one was meals, one envelope, right? It wasn't January, February, March.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Total. It was broken down inside the envelope, of course.
Oh.
But one envelope for each month.
It'd be better if you had an envelope for the category for the year. I've been saying this for years, haven't I? For decades. Using me, you should have all your tax information ready for me during the halftime of the Super Bowl game.
What's an adding machine?
Yeah, really. This will show you how far back this was.
Any other questions?
Did I ever tell you my mother is a public accountant, by the way? Remember stuff? That was before they had CPAs in 1947 or something. He knows because he wrote that in their house last.
Is it true that an accountant is an actuary with a personality?
Oh.
Am I not sure?
Have time for one final question.
Now, you do not need to have a receipt for a deduction that's under $75, but you do need to have all of the information. Who, what, when, where, and why.
$75?
When did that change from 25 to 75?
Years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
And the pictures that he takes would actually keep it back up. You were in the picture with these posts online.
You don't need it, but it's better to have it.
No, I mean.
I can't hear the, excuse me everybody, when everyone's talking, we can't hear who's asking the question. We'll have time for informal networking afterwards.
The comment was that if you were in the video or a picture in the event, that would be even better. Yeah.
I've seen them all that he posts.
It could also bounce too if you were in the
Well, it's proof that you were there in case you get audited, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
That's his point.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or questions?
You know what auditors are? A friend of mine is an auditor. The guys walk in the back.
Cancel checks are great, but we don't get cancel checks out of the bank anymore.
He was an auditor and told me.
Somebody go right in.
The question, please?
Yes.
Last question, we gotta move on, folks.
No, what was the question?
Cancel checks are really good, but we don't get cancel checks back to the bank all the time anymore. So you all got my phone number. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I really believe it, I've learned how to use it properly. There's some tricks to it, and you don't want to pester people all day long with stuff. You want to make it light and friendly. So, ma'am, you didn't get a chance to introduce yourself.
No, but lots of people know me. Thank you so much.
I don't know. You're not good at this.
Yeah, we're gonna introduce you in just 1 second. We want to move on to the brainstorming and mastermind, and we'll introduce you before that. But yes, give Bill a big round of applause. And if you have any other questions for Bill, please see Bill afterwards, and we're gonna wrap things up right now with the brainstorming and masterminding.